Welcome back to Wall Again, where passion meets music. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And we're back with Gavin, Marcus, and Eric for another album review. It's going to be The Doors' debut album, released in 1967. So you've been busy all week listening to this one, lads.
Yeah,
I've been busy all my life listening to this one.
We might kick off with you then, Eric. If you want to tell us why you like this album, what you think is so good about it, and what your favorite track is on it, and then we'll go around the table.
Yeah, I mean, what's not to say about this album? It's just brilliant. If anyone out there hasn't listened to the Doors, listen to them with an open mind. There's a lot to the band. There's a lot to Jim Morrison, the front man, in terms of his lyrics, his poetry. Again, just an amazing debut album from this band. It's from the '60s. They really have to capture that '60s vibe. And if you want to know more about the band, like check out the movies out there. Like there's one When You're Strange, or the Oliver Stone, The Doors movie with Val Kilmer. I mean, just to get a picture of what these band are like, they're just an amazing band. So yeah, I mean, why I love this album, the production is incredible. Nearly every single song on it is a hit. I mean, to quote, probably one of my favorite songs is probably "The End" or "Light My Fire." "Backdoor Man." They're just a really really good album. I'm really into the Doors, so
Brilliant. Brilliant stuff. What would you,
yeah.
Gav?
yeah, similar story. Well, actually, I have to thank Marcus for naming the band in the last one of the last episodes we did with the 4/4 piece, and kind of said to myself, God, it's been a long, long time since I listened to the Doors. Like since I was really young, I just kind of would have listened to the hits, like My Fire Break On Through and The End and stuff like that. So I was like, I have to give this album and fresh listen. So in my job, I do a lot of driving, so I have the time to listen to these albums. And I think I text you, Rob, the next day we had a chat. I'm like, oh my God, this album is unbelievable. It's so good. Um, it's so different. It's so yes, it's the was the mid to late '60s. I know they were kind of doing some shows and stuff before they went into the studio, but the sound of the keys especially really speaks to me. And I think it was it a Vox organ, a Continental organ, I think it was. And I think it was, from what I read, it was one of the first albums to use that in the '60s. I know it was used in another few bands, but it was new at the time. And I think it just has that psychedelic feel and just so different. Jim was so different, as you said, Eric. And like he was iconic. He was a rock star. He was a legend. Like
Yeah.
how could you not like this band? Like they were so different, but it worked. You know, I think who would have been out around then? The Beatles and stuff. Were they out then?
Yeah.
Bob Dylan, the Beatles,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know, chalk and cheese, but it still works. Like
Beach,
it was
yeah.
so different. But some standout tracks for me, yes, the same as Eric said. But Soul Kitchen, I love. I really like that
Sure.
track. Yeah, very trippy, and I think it sets the tone as well. And kind of soul music as such. It actually
Yeah.
is the bit, and the way he's playing the guitar and the striking of the strings and just the whole in that, it was just different. It's more upbeat. I think I prefer the more kind of upbeat tracks than the deep psychedelic stuff. I still enjoy them, but I definitely do enjoy the more up-tempo ones. But yeah, great album.
Brilliant.
That was album.
Great stuff. So, Marcus, on to you next.
Yeah, well, I adore the Doors. I think they're fantastic. This album, probably the thing that gets me with this album is the energy of it. It's like they've just come straight off the stage into the studio, just chomping at the bit, ready to go. They probably realistically didn't have much time. They just had to get the work done, and you kind of get that. Like a lot of songs, pretty much they were all recorded live with many takes, but they're all recorded live. But you can get that feeling of it. Certainly with Break On Through, it's just in your face straight away. You could just imagine the energy that would come off the stage hearing that live. And there's just so many tracks. Soul Kitchen, I think from Break On Through to Soul Kitchen, it's a lovely change because it kind of you get the energy of the first song, but you settle into it into the rest of the album then with Soul Kitchen. And but for me, the end is it's rare that you get a song that sets a mood or a tone on the first drum or the
Mm.
first note or two that's been hit, and you're just going, okay, this is already taking me to another place. Just from the very first drum, and it's just an adventure from that moment on, and it's an amazing song. It doesn't disappoint at any stage. It just holds your attention. And there's a couple other tracks that are like they're brilliant pop songs, you know. And
Yeah.
then, as you say, Scott was saying, the psychedelic side to it and everything. So there's a lot going on with this album, an awful lot. You know, good writing, and a band that have obviously been living in a rehearsal room for the last year or so, just really working their tunes, and they were ready when they hit that album.
Fair play. Fair play. Well, I'm going to upset everyone.
Is this because of
Um,
Oasis? Is it?
um, yeah, I'm gonna upset you all after all that glowing. I'm gonna bring you back down to earth. I think this album is overrated.
Whoa.
Honestly, yeah, I think this album was overrated. I so I'll speak about the good things first. So I love some of the tracks on it. I think it's got some amazing tracks. It's got obviously Break On Through. It's an absolutely brilliant song. Light My Fire, I absolutely adore. I think it's one of the best songs of the 60s, and especially the extended version. Like, remember hearing the edited version, I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. Like, it needs you need the extended version, the key solo by Ray and then the guitar solo by Robbie Krieger. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And then I love the end. I was a massive fan of Apocalypse Now, and
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
the DVD there. That's it's worth another watch. And yeah, got into that song through that movie, and absolutely adore that song. It's psychedelic, it's proggy, great musicianship. There's loads of mad stuff in there as well. It's got crazy vibe to it. Strange spoken word by Jim Morrison and everything else in it. So absolutely brilliant. But apart from that, like there's some other good tracks. Like 20th Century Fox is a decent track. But I don't really like the Alabama song, whiskey song. I think it's a bit gimmicky. Doesn't really do it for me. Backdoor Man, like, it's another cover of a Willie Dixon song. Like, what's the point? Like, I just didn't really get that. I Looked at You again, another track that didn't really do it for me. So I think, like, as a debut album, it's very good. It's a statement of intent, and there's some great songs on there. But I think it's a hard listen all the way through. There are skips on it for me. I get what they're doing. Yeah, the sound is good, and it's Jim Morrison, and it's an introduction to the Doors. But yeah, I just feel it's overrated. And then the production, I really don't like the production on this. I think, like, right, in terms of the recording techniques, no issue with that. Everything is nice and clear. They've done a great job on recording the keys, the drums, the guitars, and the vocals. That's absolutely fine. No issue with that. My issue is with the mixing, and particularly with the panning. So I don't know if you've noticed this, but the drums are panned hard left and the guitars are panned hard right. And it just sounds like shit. Like, I don't know why they did that. And I actually watched an interview with Robbie Krieger and John Densmore and Rick Beato there about 3 weeks ago, and they were, Robbie was giving out about, the mix and how it was panned. His guitar was panned hard right, and it was kind of sharing the same channel as Ray, which is like just makes no sense. Made absolutely no sense. So look, it was. I understand production techniques were limited at the time, and this is what they had to do, or this is what the engineer felt was the way to go. And the band probably didn't know a whole lot about it until it was actually mastered and they heard the record, and then they were like, "Oh, that sounds a bit odd." Like, I know in 1960s as well, Cream released Disraeli Gears. Again, Ginger Breaker's drums are all panned hard to one side. Like, what? Why would you do that? Just doesn't make sense to me. So, I'd love to hear this album if they ever remixed it and actually sorted out all that, you know, the panning and the EQ maybe a little bit better. I think it'd be really, really strong. I'd love to hear that. But yeah, overall, I just think it's an overrated album. I think so. I think it gets a lot of credit, but there's a lot of skip songs on it for me. So
That's fair
there you
enough.
go.
That's fair enough, Rob. That's fair enough.
Yeah,
You're entitled to your opinion, you know.
yeah, yeah. Even I'll be the odd one out. I'm always the odd one out in these things anyway. So I'm kind of getting
Have you
used to it.
seen have you seen the documentary of the Doors yet, or have you watched like the movie?
Yeah, I've seen the movie. Yeah, yeah, years
Yeah,
ago now.
yeah, yeah.
Years ago.
No, I think that's what brings this band alive for me. You know what I mean? It's kind of having that vision of them. Um, but I just I think their music is very raw. You know what I mean? It's not overproduced or anything like that. It's literally four lads. There's not even a bass player. Like Raymond Zarek is playing the bass and the keys. Like just it's just different. It's like a time capsule. You know, it captures the '60s sound. Yeah, I wouldn't be expecting to hear like highly produced drums. Like that's what I really like about this album is like the sound of the drums. It's very raw sound. You know, it's
Yeah,
very like it's probably a single mic in the room and like a mic on his kick or something. But
I think
the
you're
way
right.
it sounds, it's really really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and
but
just
just
for
on
that
that,
matter,
Eric, like that comes down to how accomplished the players were. Like John Densmore was a very accomplished jazz drummer. Robbie
Yeah.
Keeger was a very accomplished jazz guitar player. And so they didn't need a lot of like production or polish to get their sound so good because they just basically recorded it, mic'd it up and recorded it. And they were able to control their instruments because they were so accomplished. If it was a lesser
yeah,
band, they'd be relying on production a lot more. Like, I'm no problem saying this. Like the Beatles, like the fifth Beatle was George Martin. Like he was a fantastic producer because he was able to get those sounds. If you compare the early Beatles records with what they were doing with Sergeant Pepper's and the White Album and Abbey Road, it's chalk and cheese, and that's because the production techniques. So
yeah.
the Doors
I
didn't really
mean,
need that. They had the
as it
chops.
as far as the debut album goes, like I think this is way better than like the Beatles debut album. You know,
Ah, yeah, but the
like
Beatles, the first few Beatles albums are terrible.
yeah,
Like they're terribly produced. They're all in mono. They're putting covers in, roll over Beethoven and all this nonsense. It was pop songs, and then of course you have the whole. We could do another video on the Beatles, but like the US releases were different from the UK releases.
Mm.
So I agree. Like the
yeah,
Beatles didn't kick into gear until 1966 with Revolver, in my
yeah.
opinion. Rubber
I
Soul.
think as well, like even like we talk about like the Led Zeppelin albums, like the debut album, an
Mm,
absolute masterpiece. But
mm.
like most of it is covers, you know. Even like you got Backdoor Man,
Eh,
on the Doors,
yeah.
and I
There's
think
probably three
there's
covers in there.
parts.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this album. It's like it's so it's so vast
Mm,
in terms of the songs, the way they're written, the lyrics in there. I think Jim was brilliant. I really do. I think he's a fantastic frontman, but also songwriter. He's brilliant. He was.
Yeah, very
yeah.
much
I
so.
love the story as well behind Light My Fire. When it was like, they're single and they're like, oh, you're not allowed to say the word hi on
Yeah.
TV, and he's
Mm.
like, screw you. He's like, I'm gonna like emphasize it. Like, and he does that. You can see the record and he's like, he get leans into it. Like, oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was one thing I want to say there when you were on about the panning left and right, and I picked up
Mm.
something on it. And there was another thing I wanted to say about the jazz drumming, Eric. I wanted to pick your brain as well. Like I think the sound on this, I really love the drum sound on this. I love the way
Mhm.
it picks up him just on the ride cymbal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all the jazz
and
ride and the
and
hi-hat.
and the
Brilliant.
cross. There's one of the tracks that just has the cross stick at the start, and to me, it felt like I was in the bloody room with him. I thought it was so
Yeah.
good. I
Break
really
break on
did.
true.
Yeah, yeah. But there was one song. Which one was it? Or the panning left and right. Yeah, it was the end of the night. That track, and to me, it kind of. I felt like I was being transformed into on an acid trip, and the kind of swirly music where it's bouncing from left to right, as you said, it kind of gives you that feeling like that there's I don't know, it empowers the psychedelic feel to the music.
Yeah.
Whereas this
Yeah.
album brings you on a journey. It's not just track by track. This is a journey. And to me, I felt like I was in it too as well. Like the music didn't have any dimensions. It was just you were just kind of in the thing with it. And
Yeah.
like to I know they didn't don't do that live, but like I liked it, I have to say. I really liked that kind of unusual. jazz drumming and
Yeah,
the keyboard and the moving music. I think it really ties in with the whole psychedelic feel. I personally enjoyed it. I think
yeah. You feel when you listen to it, you feel like you're on a
yeah,
trip,
you
and
feel like you're on a
that's
trip.
what psychedelia is. That's what it is.
Somebody told me, yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah. And did you know there was a bass player actually in the studio for Soul Kitchen and Light My Fire? Was
There was on a number of tracks. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
there was.
Larry Noctil from Wrecking Crew fame.
Yeah.
So I know that there was no bass player on stage, but I believe that there was on a few of them tracks in the studio. Just a little fun fact there.
That's
yeah,
good, yeah. And just in relation to other tracks that didn't have a bass player, like did Ray? Because I know live he had two hands and he was working the bass with one hand and
Yeah,
the keys with the other. But when they were tracking these live, did he record them separately? Does anyone know? He's a Hammond organ on his right hand, and then was it, I don't know, was it a piano or something on his left hand?
he plays piano on one of the tracks, I think, but I think it's just the Vox Continental organ. I think
Oh,
that,
was it?
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we might go for round
oh,
two then. So unless you want to come in with something else there, Eric.
I was gonna say like it is a brilliant album, but there are some songs on there, like for example the Alabama song. It is a bit when you
Yeah,
listen to it, to me it sounds like a carnival ride or something.
Hmm.
I actually, yeah.
It's a bit trippy or something, It's a bit too trippy for me, but the rest of the songs I think have a bit of depth to them. That song seems like it was just I don't
It's a
know.
cover too, though,
It
isn't
must have
it?
been high or something.
So that's yeah,
All
just
right, yeah.
that's
So,
probably your least favorite song on the album, Eric, is it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely is, yeah.
And what about you, Gav?
it's funny, it's the same. Yeah, it's I actually, yeah, it's a 1927 song by some German playwright that they covered. Uh,
Oh,
Bertrand, I can't pronounce the name, but it is a cover
hmm.
from what I
Yeah,
researched.
it is. Yeah.
But I wrote two things, filler for me, and I'm like, is this a piss take? I just don't get it. I just don't get that song.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it sounds like a song on a carousel or something.
yeah.
Like
I'm
it's a
like,
bit
did they just
weird.
have room left on the on the vinyl? And
Yeah,
I just need
It
to
does
throw.
sound like a filler, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and I was just like, no, I don't get this one. Am I missing something? But
Yeah.
yeah. But the
definitely,
rest of the album, the rest of the album is top notch.
yeah. It's good. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't really skip. But there was one other one that I didn't think. I actually I give it this flowers at the start, but the end of the night, I think it really complements the album, and it does, everything that I just said that it complements and brings you on that journey. But I wouldn't go to that song every time and listen to it, if you get me. But if I'm listening to the record in a whole, it ties in well. But if I was going to pick a song, it definitely would be down on the list as well. But
Yeah.
it suits it as a full listen, if you get me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What about yourself, Marcus? What would be your least favorite one on this album?
The Alabama song. Yeah, it's just too quirky. So yeah, I don't know. It's like so obviously one of them had a thing for that song, and they just went for it. It does feel like a filler. That's all it feels like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I have to agree. I don't think it's a great song. And I don't think Backdoor Man, I don't really see
Oh, I love that.
the allure on that one,
Great tune.
I
no,
love
Yeah.
I think that's a great tune.
Yeah. And there's others there. Look, I spoke
It's more
about,
bluesy too. I think that Black Backdoor Man is more bluesy.
oh, it's a Willie Dixon song. Like it's a
Yeah,
complete
yeah,
blues song. Yeah.
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 But sure, leave it to Led Zeppelin to cover the Willie Dixon songs.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so I suppose going around the table then, marks out of 10 for this album. Eric, what would you give it?
I give it a 9.5 out of 10. I'd almost give it a 10,
All
but maybe
right.
that song, the Alabama song, brings it down just half a point.
Wow.
But brilliant, brilliant album. It's up there. It's up there with my favorites. It really is.
Up there with the best of Floyd, yeah.
Yeah, up there, man. I'm into that style of music, the classic
Absolutely.
rock style.
Fair play. And Gav, what would your mark be out of 10?
Yeah, I think I'd probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
Very
You know,
good.
yeah, yeah. I definitely listen and listen and listen, but yeah, it's not at my top tier, but it's a great album.
Very good. Marcus,
I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of
Like,
10.
yeah, don't get me wrong, I love it, but I think it's too easy to just kind of go, oh, 8 or 9, I think nine or ten it want to be
Yeah.
absolutely special, and um, it's a great album. I don't really have anything too negative to say about it, but I want a little bit more before I'm hitting eight, nine, and ten.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with seven. It's a great album, a fantastic debut album, and yeah, it deserves all its praise, except for
Yeah.
what you're saying about it. But,
Oh well, yeah, look, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying, but that's
yeah.
just as well as my opinion from listening to it. I was going to give it a seven as well, but seeing as you're giving it a seven, Marcus, I'll have to give it a six after all the giving out.
Wow.
I think if you took Break On Through, Light My Fire, and The End, and you put that on an EP, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. That's absolutely flawless music there, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it is. Yeah.
Um, and then I
But
think,
This
also
is
for a
Jenny,
debut album to have those three tracks in it,
yeah,
that's huge,
yeah, and
huge.
I think the gap between those three tracks and the rest is massive, in my opinion. And that's why it probably pulls it down. But yeah, look,
But
it's still a good album. Like that, it's not like it's something I'll never listen to again. And we had plenty of them, Eric, on the Pink Floyd list, didn't we?
Oh, we did. Yeah, we did. We were
Yeah,
struggling to
especially the
put someone
final
around.
cut. I had to go back and listen to the final cut again for another review
Yeah.
because Pat kept saying to me it's a misunderstood masterpiece. So then I listened to it 10 times and I got to the point where no, it's not a misunderstood masterpiece. I don't like that album. And I never will. But this debut album, yeah, I think I think it's good. Yeah, I'll definitely be returning to it. But those three tracks for me are standout. So, look, thanks for dialing on, guys, and let us know in the comments below if you like this album. Let us know why you like it. What would you give it out of 10? What's your favorite song, and what's your least favorite song on the album? And if you like the video, hit the like button. I'm sure, Gav, you will share this on the That Sound.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah, yeah.
So make sure you subscribe to Gavin's channel, subscribe to my channel. We will talk to you on the next one. Bye for now.
Yeah.
See you later.